Hey folks, John here, All-Tinker Forge, welcome back. So, what's going on today is we're down here in the workshop. We're kicking off December's charity build. What we're going to be making is a Pukko knife, which is basically a traditional Scandinavian utility knife. It's a pretty simple knife. They have a narrow, single-edge blade, simple bolster, simple handle with a hidden tang. Nothing too crazy. I've just never made one, and I've always kind of wanted to, so this seemed like as good a time as any. So what I got here is a billet of canister Damascus I made with my buddy James over at County Line Forge. We started with a big 2" by 2" by 6" chunk, and we squeezed it out under his press, and then we cut it in half, and we forged out these two billets. I'll put a link to his channel in the description. I don't think he's actually posted the video of us making this steel yet, but that's where this came from. So we're going to cut it off about right there and forge it out and go from there. You can't really see the pattern. I did etch this earlier, but it's been sitting ever since, and so you can't really see it. But as you can see, we still got bits of the can attached around here. We used whiteout, but we didn't let it dry. Now I know you need to let it dry. But by the time we get this thing forged out with the material we lose to scale, as well as when we grind the flats of the bevels, I'm pretty sure the canister is going to be long since gone before this thing's a knife, so I'm not too worried about it. But let's get moving. So first things first, this thing's way too wide, so we need to work it in to bring it out, and then we'll work it this way to make it thinner before it can be made into a knife. And especially with canister Damascus, you want to be gentle your first few heats because you never really know what the steel's going to do when you start working it. Just take your time. Don't try to bully the material and you'll be okay. Now that I know this billet's staying together, I've taken a few heats. I'm going to forge it out a little more aggressively. Got about the width I'm looking for, and now I'm going to try to get some more length, so I'm just going to go at it with the straight peen. Fuller it out. Nothing to it, really. So, got this thing flattened out into a usable knife billet. Now it's pretty much just run-of-the-mill forging out a blade. Gonna forge kind of a long trailing drop point on it. And we'll turn it around and make the tang. Then we'll just lay in some edge bevels and start forging this thing to its final shape. As you hammer in bevels, the knife is naturally going to curve away from the side you're beveling. So every so often you just need to go back to the face of the anvil and correct that bend. And then just bring your bevel back to true, and that's all there is to it. You can use a wooden mallet, but this works just as well. So here we are off the anvil. There's way more material here than I need. It's over twice as thick as the finished knife is going to be, because I was a little bit worried about having to get through the canister. So what I got here, got my contact wheel on for faster grinding, and I got a good 36 grip belt on here. We're just going to go through and hog off material because there's way more than we need here. So, to make the bolster for this knife, I decided on copper. So what I got here is a little rudimentary mold made. I just beat this piece of scrap wood into some green sand. And I got some old scrap copper. This is a little copper anvil I made when I first started messing around with casting. But we're going to get this crucible in the forge, get this stuff melted, and keep moving. When you're working copper, you really want to go slow. It moves a lot faster than steel, but it also work hardens, even when hot. So every couple of heats, you need to quench it in water while it's hot, just soften it. I came out with a much bigger billet than I thought, so I'm just going to forge it down a little bit closer to where I need it to be. Got the material I need set down, so I'm just going to go through with a chisel. And just cut it off with the parent bar. That's about all there is to it. And that's what will become our bolster. Got a whole slot punched in the material that's going to become my bolster. And now I'll basically just hot fit it onto the tang. Same way I would if I was making a steel or iron guard. fit up will be refined later with needle files, but this will get us most of the way where we need to go. So that's the rough fit of the guard. As you can see, it's not quite perfect just yet. Before I go any further, I'm going to go ahead and trim this thing down pretty close to its final size, as well as go ahead and polish up the front of it, because polishing that involves removing material, and in doing that you're going to kind of mess with the fit up a little bit, so it's best to wait until the very end to get that put together. So what's got to happen now, we got a couple holes drilled in our block of African blackwood. We're going to heat up the tang, burn in there, get a nice fit, and keep moving on this thing. Got enough scale knocked off of this thing to where I can see true metal. Gonna bring the tang and ricasso area back to blue, make them nice and springy, and then do about a light straw on the edge or so, and that should get us where we need to go. So, see, we got blue on the tang and the ricasso, and about a light straw over the whole blade, so should be nice and springy, nice and strong, but still holding edge well. Now we need to contour the handle and the bolster so they fit together seamlessly, shape out the handle, and finish grind this thing. So, here we are for the glue up. What's got to happen now, we got to shape the handle out. I've already got started a little bit, but we've got to shape it to its finished size and dimensions and everything without damaging this bolster as best we can. If we do damage it just a little bit, it's okay. We can kind of polish the edges back where they need to go, but if you take a huge gouge out of it, there's really no way to fix it at this point. So, I'm going to be real careful and just go at it and see what we come up with. So this is actually my first time using African blackwood. This stuff is really tough. It's really hard, really dense. Sanding it's taking freaking forever. The bright side is it's going to make a good, strong, tough handle, but finishing it is a pain. So here's the finished knife. The snow is screwing with the lighting, so you can't really see the grain of the wood too good, but trust me, it's gorgeous. Pattern came out really nice. So, here's the finished knife. Pretty happy with the way it came out. The grain of the African blackwood's a little bit subtle, but trust me, it looks great. It goes with the copper bolster really well as the pattern in the steel. I don't know if I mentioned it at the start of the video or not, but this canister Damascus was made of 1084 powdered steel and motorcycle chain. You can kind of see the links in there. It's pretty cool. I did accidentally double stamp my mark, which kind of sucks, but at this point there's nothing I can do about that. As you saw, the knife is good and serviceably sharp, and yeah, all in all, I'd say the build went pretty well. But anyway, this was made for December's charity build, so this knife is going to be sold on the Etsy store. Link in the description if you'd like to purchase it. 75% of the money is going to Toys for Tots. With Christmas coming up, I just figured it'd be a good charity to donate to. And yeah, if you have any other charities you'd like to see donated to, any other knives you'd like to see built for the charity builds, go ahead and drop them in the comments, and y'all take care.